and welcome to Get Better, a show about two longtime friends trying their best, growing up, and hopefully getting better. I'm Zach Johnson.
And I'm Sam Cherry.
Hey Sam, how have you been?
Good. I think my intro sounded gross because I'm eating a piece of sushi.
Oh, okay. Is this like sushi that you got from a restaurant or sushi you got from like a Kroger?
No, I got it from a Publix.
Oh man, there's not a Publix. I've never lived near a Publix.
Really?
Yeah, well, I don't think I do. I might not. I don't think I do.
I don't think they have
people,
Publix in Louisville.
Yeah, people talk about Publix in a very. This episode is sponsored by Publix in a very, like wistful way. They talk about it in the same way that people talk about In-N-Out Burger, like this sort of otherworldly, like how great it is sort of thing. And I've never been to one. And is the sushi good?
It's the exact same brand and quality as the Kroger sushi. It's made by the same people. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's like that. I assume, the thing is they have a guy back there and it seems like the guy makes the sushi. Maybe it's just all the like packaging, but I would assume it's the same fish too, right? Like I assume they're sending in the same supplies.
I think
so. I go back to my previous statement. It's the exact same sushi.
I think you kind of run the risk anytime you get sushi and or any seafood based thing in like a landlocked sort of area. So even if there is a guy, where'd that guy get that fish?
Right.
Yeah. I got a salmon recently from Trader Joe's. Just show you how good my life's going. I dropped $12 on that thing.
Wow.
So yeah, I know it had better be good. It's just like you want to look like The Rock, and The Rock's always eating salmon or something.
Shredded chicken, salmon.
He's always eating salmon or shredded chicken or like quinoa, not even rice, quinoa, like dropping money on quinoa and probably Ezekiel bread, whatever that is.
Gym food is like, it seems like a nightmare world. There's a trade-off, like you get to look like The Rock and that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're going to spend 3 to 4 hours of your day in the gym. And also you have to just eat little containers of shredded chicken and like an egg white. And that's just life for you. Yeah. You get to be really strong. And that's cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to be able to rip a door off its hinges. You know what I mean? Like I would love to be able to pick up a car and save a kitten underneath, right? I want to be able to jump.
I think that's why like people in the gym culture, I think that's why they keep lifting tires. Just in the off chance.
Yeah, they're
getting ready to, because like a tire is basically just a small car.
It's part of a car.
Yeah. But like a big tire is like half a car, And so like once you got the adrenaline pumping from like wanting to save the kitten, you can just throw that bad boy like, like flip it over.
Right. You just like the tire. The
tire
tire
exactly.
You just like it's basically
you
like
build your way up.
When does the car stop being a car? Like I don't know, maybe the tire. Maybe you are lifting a car up.
Yeah. And then like that's how gym culture works. They blindfold you. And then they're like, they're telling you you're lifting up a tire, but then they take the blindfold off and it's like, you've been lifting up a car this entire time. It's like when a dad teaches you how to ride a bike for the first time. It's like, wow, you were lifting up a car.
And he takes off your blindfold and you're like, wow, you've been riding this bike this whole time.
You've been riding this bike and just lifting cars. You cause a lot of trouble. The police are out to get you.
I will tell you, I think my favorite part of gym culture is when someone's lifting real strong. And they're having a lift off, and one guy's lifting up a car, and then another guy's lifting up like a minivan, and then this real skinny dude comes up, and they're like, "What? He can't lift anything." And then he takes off the really heavy bracelets that he's been wearing, and they like and like makes big craters on the ground. They're like, "Oh my god, he's been wearing weighted bracelets this whole time." Yeah, and then he lifts up a whole bus over his head with like one hand.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the gym.
Yeah, I think that's just the thing that I'm looking forward the most to when I inevitably get into a part of gym culture. I mean, Kumail Nanjiani, who's a comedian and a kind of a chubby guy, got into gym culture, and now he's absolutely shredded. So,
Kumail Nanjiani, is he? I know him. I'm trying to. I can see his face in my brain, and I know who he is, but I'm trying to remember the name of a single movie he's been in.
I think Kumail Nanjiani,
he's the big sick guy.
He's like one of those guys that I think is about to get into fame territory. Like when he was doing the big sick, he was in pre-fame territory. Now he's in fame territory.
He's in
because
indie
he got shredded.
Well, just like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, yes. Dave Chappelle famously is the most known for being super buff. I mean, he is super buff. I'm not gonna.
Super buff.
He is super buff, but it's not like it wasn't like he came back and he was super buff and everyone was like, yo, you're the Black Panther now. Like, you're going to be in Marvel movies.
It was sort of a reverse Dave Chappelle where he was super famous and then got buff.
Yeah. And
he is getting buff and then will become super famous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's doing what's known in the business as a reverse Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, of course. That's classic.
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
I heard a story about Dave Chappelle. I know him. Like me and him hang out.
Of course.
That he would ride his bike around America with like a couple of his friends, and whenever they needed money, he would just do a show. He did the shows for the purpose of like riding his bike around.
When you say bike, do you mean motorcycle?
No, like a bicycle.
You mean bicycle? Wow, what?
Like it was but I'm thinking it's like the guys from your fraternity that would just ride a bike around.
I was gonna make a bike for all joke and I didn't. Yeah, I thought you were doing a bike for all joke.
No, I think it was the same thing, except it was a bike for Dave Chappelle. I'm Dave Chappelle. I have no allegiance to any organization. I'm just doing this to do it.
He's not raising money for Alzheimer's research. He's just like hanging out with his buds.
Hanging out with his buds, riding a bike across America, as one is to do.
I can't imagine a life where I could just materialize money like that. Because, like, look, don't get me wrong, and I think I've stated this plenty of times on the show. Mm-hmm. Stand-up comedy is very hard and takes a lot of work. But it's also just talking, right?
Yeah, and
like, can you imagine having a life where you're just like, I'm just going to kind of have fun and do whatever I want, and then it's like, it sounds like magic, where it's like, oh, we're running out of money. I'll just walk into a room and talk, and then I'll have a bunch more money.
Yeah.
And then we're good.
It's like rolling a 20 in Dungeons and Dragons, just for like it's getting charisma up, and it's just like everyone gives you your money.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think because with Dave Chappelle, like as you said, it's really, really hard. But as someone as talented as him, it's basically just free money.
He's put in the work, right? That's the point. Now he is in a place where it's like, I just do jokes.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have to tell people. His head doesn't have to like schedule anything. He just like walks in and he is like, "Hello, right. You know me. I'm like a legend in these parts.
I'm Dave Chappelle.
I go from town to town like a cowboy, and I go to a room and talk, and then I ride my bike away."
Yeah, I think in another life, and I think about this a lot. It's not a life that I would pursue. I was talking to Sophie about this morning, because she, for work, needed to present a TED Talk. Not like give a TED Talk, but like they were like, hey, in this meeting, they have like a rotating cast of like someone always presents a video, and it's like a vaguely like business video, like just something business. So it was her turn, and she needed to find a video to play, and so she was looking at TED Talks. And I just think in a different life, I could be like business consultant guy. Do you know what I mean? Like the guy who comes in and is just like, what you all need to do is find your piece and take that piece and go out and conquer. And like do that shit just at bit. Like go to business and be like, you need to find your inner tiger and take that tiger and put him on the table. What you need to do, I should be better at this. See, the thing is, if I actually could do this, because I've never tried.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing a shitty job.
Yeah,
but imagine I was doing a good job.
Okay.
Then it would be like that.
Whoa!
I know, right? I'm taking off the bracelets, and they're like, psh, psh, and there's big craters in the ground, and then I'm like, take your inner tiger, and they're like, here's free money. That's what I'm trying to describe.
Yeah.
but I actually don't know how to do that, so I can't make the joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that now mid-joke.
Yeah. I think everyone has a similar sort of fantasy. I think it's the same thing with like being like, I'm pretty funny. I bet I could be a stand-up comedian. It's probably the same thing as like listening to enough of those guys that talk just like nonsense. Right. And you're like, I bet I could do that.
I bet I could do business talk.
Yeah. So I recently rewatched all of Silicon Valley, and one of my favorite characters is Dinpak, who is Gavin Belson's like guru, and he's kind of like a fraud who just like makes up stuff in order to. That's the life.
Best job, because he gets like a 6-figure salary.
Exactly. And you get like all the perks, and you just have to go and kind of like coddle the ego of some Silicon Valley billionaire.
Yeah, some weird psycho.
Exactly. But like, I don't want to talk about this too much because inevitably this will be found. But then again, I'm probably going to change my name. I think this is the direction that we should, because we've talked about this. We've definitely talked about this.
I'm sure.
Because it's the idea that that's what the Mud Gods is.
Yeah. We're like a consultant group.
Yeah, we are going to start as a consulting group. That's how, because you can't just start from zero. You have to like, develop a following and develop a reason why people are listening to you. But then again, you could just lie, I guess.
It's all lying anyway, right?
Yeah. And it's like, if you do the best lie, then you get the best lie job.
Well, it's like on that show that I've definitely 100% seen, Tiger King, where that guy doesn't have any money. And then he's like, I'm big money guy, so I should run your tiger park, sign it over to me. And then like now he has money, like he just sort of like kited a check. He didn't kite a check, but like he emotionally kited a check where he's like, I'm rich, so you should give me your money to manage. Cool. Yeah. It's a Ponzi scheme, but it's we should do a Ponzi scheme.
This is a
parody.
Scheme.
I don't think legally I can say on a recording we should do a Ponzi scheme. So for our joke podcast, I'd like to say let's do a Ponzi scheme.
Okay, because I've just recently, I was looking into Ponzi schemes because I've had to have it explained to me a gazillion times what a Ponzi scheme is.
Okay.
And like, I feel like every single business dude that you've heard of has like been either in one or has like done one. Yeah. And it seems like something so simple. I'm going to do another basketball analogy.
Wait, can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce you all to Money Boys 2. Payback.
Yeah.
The sequel to Money Boys is Money Boys 2: Payback.
Payback. Yes, that's very good.
Anyway, go on.
So there's this thing in basketball called the triangle offense, and it was made by this guy named Tex Winter in like the 50s. And that is the thing that made the Bulls win 6 championships.
Sure. Was
just this like, pass it to this guy, pass it to this guy, pass it to this guy in a triangle, and then shoot it. And for some reason, that like blew the minds of everyone.
Right.
Like they could not get a hold of it. Like every defense just could not wrap their mind around 3 guys in a triangle.
Because what it sounds like you just described to me is basketball. Like that's how everyone plays basketball now. Like that's just basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
But it blew everyone's mind at one point.
Yeah, exactly. It blew everyone's mind. And even after they knew about it for 3 years, like they went back to doing it and they were just like, we can't, guys, we can't hold them. Like there's 3 of them. If there were 2 of them, no problem. There are 4 of them, also easy. 3, impossible.
Because 4 is just 2 pairs.
Exactly.
Like 2 sets of
4,
2.
Yeah, 4 is just 2 guys passing to each other, and they pass it in there, and they have a second ball.
Right.
And those guys are passing a second ball.
Right. And if it's 5 of them, they're all busy, so that's good.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if it's 6 of them, they get a foul, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So 3 is the magic number for total world domination.
Right. 5 people are on a basketball court at one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it seems like a Ponzi scheme is just something that is really easy that people just keep getting away with.
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand of a Ponzi scheme, it's what my boy Billy Millionaire did in the Fire Festival. That's a Ponzi scheme. You don't have any money, and then you're like, if you give me some money, I can manage your money, and then you use that money to pay for later money. Like you never had any money, and you just lie about the money. And keep kiting checks.
It is a high stakes version of paying off a credit card with another credit card.
Right.
And if you get And if you get enough people to put money into like a never-ending pool, then like you win forever. Something really disconcerting happened as we were talking about this.
Yeah.
My little Alexa robot just lit up. And it is now
Spooky,
making
dude.
it's like a little light is spinning around. And I think
Spooky.
it is calling Jeff Bezos.
Spooky ooky. It's because you didn't say parody when you talked about Ponzi, and they can't hear me, so they're like, "Oh,
that's true." They're just like, this guy is talking to
Spooky.
himself, and or a Russian spy about how to do a Ponzi scheme.
Let me tell you,
and he's figured it out. He related it to the triangle offense. He's gonna take over the world.
I have been, the reason our schedule is like, we didn't put on an episode the week that we're recording. I think we'll get back to it, but I have been incredibly busy. Here are two tangents that are happening in my life at the same time.
Okay.
I've been incredibly busy. Like, I've got some freelance work, and then I've got my regular job, and my regular job has just been like a lot of days on set, a lot of 12-hour days. We had a 16-hour day on an outdoor set.
Nice.
So I was in the sun for all the sun hours, and
you have that sweet tan
burn all over my whole body. So anyway, I've been tired, and I took a day off, and I'm fine and whatever, but for the sake of the joke, I didn't. So I've just been like getting more and more tired, and more like you know, at that fringe, you know, you feel that where you're so like you're working so much that you're just like, oh, I feel it slipping. I feel I've also found a lot of news sources for conspiracy theories, like a lot of CIA shit, and like MK Ultra, and like, but then also like the Mothman, and
okay, we're dipping into a different area.
I know, and also my wife
my wife.
So here's the thing, this just occurred to me. I'm gonna say this sentence, and I think you're gonna come to the realization that I also just came to the realization of.
Okay, I'm going to close my eyes.
Okay, when Sophie and I first started dating, she was studying international affairs, I think is the name of the major, because she wanted to join the CIA. And we have a book, because of her and not because of me, a book in our house called The Secret History of the CIA. And it's on my reading list because of my steady mental decline. I'm like, I should probably double down on the CIA shit. What if my wife works for the CIA? What if my wife does work for the CIA?
Okay, so that's actually super interesting. For
what if I'm getting MK Ultra? What if that's what's happening?
Yes. Do you notice a lot of copies of The Catcher in the Rye that you know you didn't buy? Like, do you see those sometimes? Like, sometimes you're at like you'll open your backpack and it's just like Catcher in the Rye. I didn't pack Catcher in the Rye.
No, but did this happen to someone?
No, well, so, you know, like Catcher in the Rye was what I almost said Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Nope.
The killer of John Lennon had on his person.
Don't know his name, but that guy.
And there is this Mel Gibson movie. I'm going to have to look it up. It is the most bonkers movie. I don't know why I don't know what 3 a.m. like sort of tangent I was on to find this movie.
I'll start Googling while you tell the story.
No. I'm looking.
You got
I'm looking it up right now. The movie is called Conspiracy Theory.
All right, I probably would have found it. I was typing Mel Gibson conspiracy, so that works.
Yeah. So it's this movie called Mel Gibson. It's this 1997 movie. I don't know why I've seen this, but at one point in the movie, like so Mel Gibson's character, and who is an unhinged man, like Mel Gibson in real life. Yes. He believes like all of the conspiracy theories. And then in a huge twist, all the conspiracy theories turn out to be true. Oh. And then he goes back to his house and he just has a library full of The Catcher in the Rye.
Spooky.
Like hundreds of, because the CIA put them there. See, they're trying to frame him to be like he's unhinged. Which is convenient because he was already unhinged. And
doesn't sound like a good movie.
It wasn't.
It's very confusing.
But I remember once Mel Gibson's character is like super unhinged and like a friggin' weirdo. Like imagine like a Nick Cage type. And then once all the conspiracy theories turn out to be true, he's like cool and collected, like a Harrison Ford type, but never like a Mel Gibson type.
Sorry. I just want to get a guy who's already crazy.
Yes. Well, no, he's not crazy.
He starts in the beginning. He's crazy.
No, he's not crazy because everything that he believes is true. If anything, he's the last sane person alive.
But a guy who, to the outside world, is not to be believed because he is crazy. Okay, if all the conspiracies were true, what's it matter? You know what I'm saying? Like, if the CIA killed Kennedy and we all just know it, then who cares? Then they got away with it and we all just know it. Again, I'm not endorsing that conspiracy. I'm just saying, like, if the moon landing was fake,
it sounds like you
talking about it.
This sounds very MK Ultra because I feel like
I'm getting MK Ultra.
I really think you are. No, because right now you're just like, guys, if the CIA did this, let's let them off the hook.
I'm saying
let's see what happens. You know, we're not gonna blame them. We're certainly not gonna blame my wife. And so why would I blame, Ted Cruz's dad or whatever?
His dad for being the Zodiac killer, and also Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer, and his dad killed Kennedy. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, okay, let's take the moon landing. Let's take one that's somehow less of a hot button conspiracy theory. Okay, let's take it as read. You believe that the government faked the moon landing to bankrupt the Soviet Union and win the Cold War and inspire morale. And then later also like figured out real space travel or something. But at the moment they fake the moon landing, right?
Yes.
So that is a thing that's in the culture that everyone knows people say, but generally disregard those people as insane cranks, right? That is the culture at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
That everyone has heard this conspiracy theory, is familiar with at least the idea of it, and thinks people who believe it are insane cranks. Then you have, and you're the CIA in this story, and then you find out that this guy, played by Mel Gibson, finds out that in fact you did fake the moon landing. Why do you need to frame him? What could he do? Like, what could he possibly do? Go around telling everyone that the moon landing is fake? We already agree as a culture that people who think that are insane cranks. So, like, why do you need to frame him with the catcher in the rye? Like, he figured it out, but who cares? We all know.
I feel like I'm forgetting details, but I think it's also like a Born Identity type situation where, like, he was a dude in the CIA, but then they, like,
MK Ultra'd him.
They MK Ultra'd him. They made him. They put acid in his ears or whatever they did.
Who knows?
And then now he's like a dumb boy, or like a crazy boy, and maybe that's what it is. But otherwise, it's like, yeah, just let him keep going.
Let me just drop some knowledge.
Okay.
This is totally parody and not what I think or believe. I will give you a couple of facts, then just let them sit there.
A couple of knowledge darts?
Uh-huh.
Okay, here we go.
The doctor was like, he's insane, so obviously just disregard him and put him away somewhere. What he was studying at the CIA, Jack Ruby. So Jack Ruby kills Lee Harvey Oswald, right? Spontaneous insanity and how to induce spontaneous insanity. So I'm just letting you know that that's something that happened. Allegedly. Parody. Allegedly.
Yes. If you keep saying allegedly in front of it, then that means that it didn't happen.
I just want to give you an idea of where I'm at in sort of my headspace.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm getting MK Ultra and I'm going insane.
But like if you're getting MK Ultra and going insane, then like what's the point in like why would they just give you the truth?
Because then I would be Mel Gibson and I would say it and people would be like, "Oh, that guy's a crank. He's crazy. We should punch him."
What Reddit pages are you on? What's happening?
None. I'm on no Reddit pages.
I'm on Truth Serum.
I'm on Truth Serum. I'm getting my CIA wife is putting LSD in my food and I'm losing my mind. I spent a lot. Okay, as it's been well documented, my personality is made up of the last 2 podcasts I listened to.
Mm-hmm.
So I've spent. Now you missed 2 weeks where I listened to a bunch of nerdy podcasts about nerd shit, and I was very happy. Then I did spend about a day and a half just listening to Lizard People, the conspiracy theory podcast, and now I'm here. So
yeah. That's kind of, there's a very similar sort of, why are we conspiracy podcast now? Is that who we are? Are we Joe Rogan and the Conspiracy Boys? Is that who we are?
Is Joe Rogan into conspiracy theories?
Joe Rogan is into everything that is like
weird.
Not necessarily controversial, but just like think about that.
Think about it.
But
he's got business guy energy. He's got like pothead.
He does have,
he
has business guy energy. And like now he's kind of on this thing where he is like, he has a ton of very impressionable fans who are already kind of in this mood, but he's been doing stuff that's like, I don't really see a reason why we should be wearing masks in public.
Oh, cool.
It's like a dude that doesn't have a medical degree talking to another dude that doesn't have a medical degree.
Right.
Just talking in circles about what they think.
I found an article from the New York Times that was written in 1964, and it says, so I'm gonna go back into the funny zone.
But you already are married, so it's like fine. It's not like you're a dude.
Oh yeah, I'm not like I'm not trying to like convince people to like me at this point.
Yeah. You're not like at a bar being like, and that's the reason why Jack like, or talking about whatever DNC Bernie thing happened.
Sure. And to be fair, I don't talk to my wife about how the CIA killed JFK. A thing that I don't believe, I don't think. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that, and I want to be clear, and I feel like I should spend the rest of the podcast being a little more normal.
Being a little more loosey-goosey.
Aaron Carter normal.
What's happening?
What if I just, hey man, what if we were just like, didn't spend half an hour talking about the CIA again.
Yeah, what if that didn't happen because your wife is in the other room with one of those spy kit, what was those things? Those like devices that had commercials when we were younger and they were like spy tools or whatever.
I got one of those and it was supposed to be a motion detector. It didn't work for shit. It didn't do anything.
The one that I really wanted was the one where you could hear people talking from like a little bit away, just in the off chance they were either A, having a cool conversation, or B, talking shit about you, which I can't imagine happened all too much. But word to the wise, friends, if you have AirPods and or Bluetooth headphones, what you can do is there is an option on your phone where you can go into settings and turn on listening, and you can leave your you can leave your phone somewhere and have your AirPods or Bluetooth headphones in and be listening through the phone from another room.
What have you done to our audience?
It is called listening.
Know how many breakups you are going to cause?
It is the stuff. It is so... Well, okay, let me rephrase that. It is as much fun as having one of those listening devices as a kid would be. You don't hear anything interesting, but you do hear what people are talking about.
That's sucks. I would not want that for 1 minute.
It's great. You just like leave your you just take your phone. You just still, because no one cares about where a phone is.
Yeah.
You just put the phone right there. Put those babies in, and then listen in on people.
I fell for the thing like the commercial again. I did immediately. I was like, oh, and then you'll hear, and it's like, wait a minute, what are you gonna hear? Like again, on the off chance someone's talking shit about you or like randomly start speaking in another language and you know that it's an op, like, okay, be more normal. Let's go back to the anime jokes. Let's be more normal. Take
No,
off
I'm
your
just saying,
bracelets.
you know.
They make big craters. Let's be more normal. And the off chance someone's talking shit, like, what would it matter if you listen to someone's conversation in another room? They're probably just on TikTok. You'll just hear TikTok from another room.
Yeah. But you could be listening in on your wife, then here's some op knowledge.
That's true.
But that's not. I'm not gonna speak into that anymore. But speaking of animes, like the rest of the world, I've been rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender because nothing makes sense anymore, and you have to really pull to the nostalgia of your childhood to remind you of the last time you were happy.
Sure,
and
obviously, I get that.
Yeah. So I've been watching a lot of Avatar, and I don't know if you've been watching it or have seen it.
I've seen most of it.
But when you watch all the episodes back to back, one thing you notice, and I might be like projecting from the other from the other podcast I listened to, The Adventure Zone, starring the McElroy brothers.
Oh yeah,
but
I gotta catch back up. I haven't listened in a couple of weeks.
It's good.
Are you caught up on Graduation?
It's it's good. Travis, one of the brothers, is a very good DM. He cares very deeply about everything that's happening. But one thing I've noticed is that Avatar: The Last Airbender is like basically a D&D campaign where you have these adventurers. Each of them has like specific powers. You have Aang, who is kind of like he's an airbender. He has special airbending powers. Also, if things get super hairy, he can go into the avatar state. Sure. You have Katara, who's a waterbender. You have Sokka, who's a warrior. You have Toph, who's an earthbender. And they kind of meander around the world. And every few episodes, they have to deal with like a big bad. Right. Like it is very rare that an episode ends without them fighting like a thing, like doing a something. Where they have to fight a big bird or a big owl that guards a library, or they have to fight
that's a good one.
Yeah. Or they have to fight this lady that's riding on a like anteater looking thing that can smell them, or they have to fight off a bunch of like pirate thugs, or they have to fight like another party that also has like those earthbending, waterbending powers.
Sure.
And it is very campaigny in the way that it works, where like it's not all character development. It's like episodes end with them fighting like a big bad, and it just feels like something you would do in like a campaign.
It's like if D&D met anime.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's a really creative use of keeping the audience intrigued. Where like when you see like I had forgotten about this, but when I saw that big bird, I had forgotten what happened. But I was like, I bet they fight that big bird.
Bet that big bird they fight.
That owl, he seems like he's going to be really not chill in just a couple of minutes. So I'm thinking they're going to fight that bird.
Let me look up this big bird.
Or there's like this one where they're like people in a swamp and they have to fight a swamp monster, but then turns out the swamp monster is like a good bloke.
Yeah. And they don't fight the swamp monster.
They do fight the swamp monster.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
They fight him. They don't kill him because he's a good bloke.
He's a good bloke.
Yeah, he's a proper lad.
Proper lad. I'm sorry. Are they all British in this episode? What are you talking about?
No. They're just lads. They're not like you can not be British and be a lad.
Be a lad. Be like a big lad. Be a big strong lad.
He's just a lad. Like he's just a lad
hanging out with his mates, just trying to throw back some pints.
Good trying to just trying to put on some Adidas sportwear and just trying to watch the match, just trying to be a lad.
That's some fucking energy right there. That's definitely that's some very significant energy.
Yeah, that's all the energy of that one. Do you see this big bird?
Yeah. He looks like a bird. I got him.
Yeah. So I think that that's the one I just recently watched, and that is kind of when I came to this conclusion that even though I didn't remember it, I knew that they were going to fight it because it was like bigger than them, and
it would be cool to watch it.
It'd be cool to watch it.
Like, and they're drawing that bird and they're like, yo, but what if they fuck him? And we can just do that. We can just draw it and that happen.
This is like, guys, this is our bird. We can do whatever we want with it. Like, we're not going to like upset anybody. Like, there's no canon of this bird. Like, we're making it up. And this bird's going to fight.
Right.
But and like each of the characters is like using their powers. They all have like very specific things they can do. And in the beginning, it was just Aang just like whipping him around with his air powers. But now everyone, Yeah, but now everyone's kind of like, they do their own thing. They have their own things they bring to the battle. And it feels very campaigny. And so now going forward, each time I see something that's slightly bigger than the rest of them, I'm going to go like, they're probably going to fight this guy. They're about to fight whomever this is.
My wife just brought me pork chops because she made dinner. And it's delicious. Yeah. And now I'm just feeling that good LSD dosing. And so now I would love to talk more about Avatar. I'm glad it came onto Netflix. It's a very good show. Everyone is watching it now, which is awesome. I never finished it all the way through, so I'm like working. I remember, I think I got to the end of like book 1 or 2. There's 3 books, 4 books?
There's 3 books, yeah.
Yeah, I remember significantly the finale of book 1. Like I know, and I don't want to talk about it in case you haven't seen it, but I remember what happens there, but I just never got through the whole series because it was on like syndication, or it was on TV every weekend. I just couldn't catch it. So I'm excited to work my way through it. We're watching Atlanta right now.
Ooh.
Atlanta and 30 Rock because Sophie I like 30 Rock as well, but that's Sophie's show. And then I was having Donald Glover withdraws from Community, and so I'm watching Atlanta, which is also very good. I mean, it's a phenomenal television show. It's really amazing how good it is.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's like amazing and annoying how good it is, as is often the things with Donald Glover. Like,
it's just every episode I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe they did that. Like, it's just, man, it's such a good television show. Like, I can't remember the last show I saw that was like basically an anthology. But was so where every episode I was like, yes, I have to know what happens next, even though I know that like it's not even next. Like it's not even. You could play all the episodes out of order and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But like there's a couple of things that happen, but like, oh my gosh, they're so like. Yeah, you seen season 1?
Yes.
The one where it's like a cable news show?
That I was going to reference that one. That one is like my favorite. That is when I knew the show was a masterpiece. Like when that episode comes on, because I wasn't really hip to the anthology sort of narrative, even though there is kind of a story threading it through, but not really. But that is the one where I was like, okay, like this is it.
Well, like in the episode where here's what's cool and exciting about the show. The one where it's like the Vanessa episode, right? Where it's all her. The first 20 minutes is her at it. Not 20 minutes, of course not. The first 8 minutes. 8 minutes of a 22-minute show. The first 8 minutes is her at dinner with her friend. And the dialogue is so good and it's so interesting and everything is so like biting and snappy and full of all of this pretense and the tension it's building. What's so cool about this television show is that 7 minutes into this 8-minute scene, I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is the episode. Like, I wonder if literally it's going to be 20 minutes of these two people at dinner.
Yeah.
And it could have been. Like, it wasn't, but it could have been. Like, that's the possibilities and in the show is that, like, we might do an episode that's 20 minutes of Vanessa and this character you've never met talking at dinner. And
it's my dinner with Andre, dinner with Vanessa.
Yes, and it will be incredibly compelling. Like it's gonna blow your mind, but also it's just and there's like an episode where it's like it starts with a commercial for the Charger, and you're like, what's happening? Like the Dodge Charger, and you're like, is it? And it's also bizarre to watch on Hulu because there are real ads in there, so you're like, is this a fake ad or a real ad? Which I guess is how it would play when it was on FX.
Yeah.
But it's like, what's going on? And they're like talking about homophobia and trans rights and the rap community and the black community and white activism and intersectionality and but it's all through the lens of this like shitty like public access thing and Paperboy, and he's just there being Paperboy, and he's like, hey man, I'm here to get paid. And they're like, you're not getting paid. And he's like, Earn, what do you? And that's it. That's the only reference to Earn in the entire episode. He like talks off screen to Earn. And I thought it was like, oh, well, this is the end. Like they're going to do this segment, go to commercials, and then be like, no, this is the episode where we do this now.
Yeah.
It's the guy that directs it or has directed several of the episodes is the guy that does all of Donald Glover's music videos.
Oh, Ludwig?
No.
Oh.
Hayao.
Oh, his music videos, not his music.
No. It's H&M. It's like Hayao. I don't remember his last name.
Miyazaki.
Not Hayao Miyazaki, but it's Hayao Mori, Muri, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Hayao Mori. I don't remember his name. That guy, he did Sweatpants and 3005 and Sober.
Oh yeah.
And This Is America.
It very much, it does, it has the feel of 3005 and also Sweatpants, like similar, like it's in a diner or whatever. Like,
well, his whole thing is so crazy to me because I'm going to call him Hayao Mori because I don't remember his name. No, I'm not, because that seems weird if I'm getting his name wrong.
Yeah, let's just look it up. Let's do it with our amazing powers.
Hold on 2 seconds. My wife has lost the remote. So why don't you look it up and then I will edit it.
Got it. Oh, you're pretty close.
Hiro Murai. His name is Hiro Murai.
Yep.
So it's not Hiro Mori, it's Hiro Murai. Anyway,
Shoo.
I know. I'm the worst. Hiro Murai, his whole like thing, and you can see this iterated and it like comes to a head with This Is America. Like, and also audience, if you haven't seen those 4 music videos, just go watch them. They're music videos. But
and if you get bored, there's music to listen to.
It's also music. There is this great like breaking expectations, like iteration and subverting expectations to like this in this way that like anything can happen. Like Sweatpants, it's like, oh, he gets up and he's walking and then he comes back. I'm assuming everyone's watched these now, so I'm going to spoil how the music videos go. And then he walks back in the diner and then like one person has his face. And then he walks back and then like half the people have his face, and then he comes back and everyone, and it's like this loop, right? 3005 is the same way. He's on the Ferris wheel, and every time they go around, they'll kind of spin the camera and you can't see anything, and then you come back to the exact same place, but it's just a little bit different and a little bit crazier. And then in Sober, it doesn't have that iteration, but everything's like, oh, Donald Glover's being weird, blah, 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 and then it hits the breakdown, and he like floats up on the table and like spins around and the lights are all black and you're like, what's happening? Like you know what I mean? And like in 3005 when the whole like place is on fire and it's like, and the bear is like looking around and you're like, what on earth is what is going on? And of course that all comes to a head in This Is America, where like every beat of that music video is just like set up an expectation, destroy that expectation. Set up a new expectation, destroy that expectation. Like I think part of why that video is so compelling is because if you really if you paced it out, or if you wrote out the status quo of like, what do you think this is going to be? The next scene is blowing that up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, just even the first like 25 seconds, right? It's like, you see this chair and you're like, I think it starts and the guy, you see this chair and you're like, okay, and music is playing and it's like, and then you come around a corner and it's like, oh, then Donald Glover's here. Okay, so the music is playing, but there's nobody there. And then he is like dancing all goofy and it's like, oh, it's bad dancing. Okay, and then you see the guy and you're like, oh, now the guy is here. Okay, so this is like a fun kind of a kawaii kind of song. And then he pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh, and then he's not being funny. He's dancing, or he's like being super hardcore. But then like as soon as he does that, he starts doing weird dances again. And you're like, okay, so now it's goofy. And then all the kids come out and you're like, okay, now it's like a dance with kids. And then there's lots of kids. And then the kids go away and he like, it's like, oh, because he's going to be dancing with these kids for the video? No. And then the kids stop and he just walks away from the kids. And it's like, okay, the kids are gone now.
And then there's a church singing.
And then he shoots everybody. Yeah, right. You're like, oh, so this is a single shot. We're just going to do one. We're going to do a one shot through the whole thing. No, we're in a different place. Okay. And now there's a choir. Okay. And now he's going to kill the choir. Okay. And it's just like scene after scene after scene. And like you hit this apex and then it just stops and he smokes a cigarette. And you're like,
yeah. And then he does that really cool dance break at the end.
But and then it cuts. And there's a cut and you're in a new place and the guy's back and he's got the guitar And then you know what I mean? And it's just like and then it's over, but then it isn't over, and they play a different song, and he's running, and it's like this crazy set of like, there's iteration in like visuals, right? Like you see a lot, you see the kids over and over again, you see the guy with the guitar over and over again. You see things go from really crazy to really chill, really crazy to really chill. Like you're always kind of off balance, but it's somehow this iteration and acceleration that is so it's like in the ethos of the film, where like you feel it, where you're like, anything could happen, or also nothing could happen.
Yeah.
But it's just, and that's all through Atlanta. Like, Atlanta is nowhere as crazy as any of those music videos, but you feel that Hiramori? I already forgot.
Yeah, Hiramori. You got it.
Hiramori's, you feel his, like, essence in the TV show. Whereas, and again, it's probably because it's Donald Glover, too.
And I'm going to spoil the end of one of the episodes just because, like, I think that it perfectly encapsulates that sort of feeling where in one episode they go to this, like, club and they're trying to get in to do performance.
Oh, my gosh.
And then at one point, someone makes a reference to an invisible car. And it's just it's like seen as like kind of a joke because like this guy is like gullible and like no one has an invisible car. And then the invisible car, like, I think comes up like one, like it doesn't really come up again, or it comes up like one more time. And then the episode ends with the invisible car crashing into a crowd of people. And then that's it. That's the end of the episode. And it's just like, and it is an invisible, like it isn't actually an invisible car, and it is so jarring, and so it is like that anything could have happened, and like the last thing I would expect it is that invisible car to be A, real, and B, like to make an appearance in the last like 2 seconds of this episode.
I just realized that that's what happened. Like I saw the guy like flip in the air, and like my brain registered he got hit by a car.
Yeah,
I did not make the connection. Oh, that's the invisible car.
That's the invisible car.
Because what it is he's like, yo, this dude's so loaded. He's got an invisible car, and then he shows him pictures on Instagram, and it's a dude just standing in a parking spot, pointing at nothing. I totally had forgotten about that. Well, also, there's this whole thing in that episode where Ern, played by Don Glover, is like trying to get paid, like he's trying to get money for this club appearance that they're doing. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's like, this guy is trying to cheat him, and you've kind of realized at this point, like, he doesn't want to pay him, he's not going to pay him. He's getting totally gypped. And then they're at a bar for like the second time where he's like, nah, dude, I need to get paid. And he's like, hey man, it's cool. Let me buy you a drink. I'll pay you. And he's like, okay. And then as Ern is getting his drink, the dude takes a step back and spins through a panel in the wall. And it's just like, and you're just watching it like, what just happened? Like, what? Like, he literally just kind of puts his weight against the wall, and the whole wall turns around, and he's gone. And Ern turns around fast enough to see it. Like, he sees the wall close and is like, you know, and whatever. And then the plot goes on, whatever. But it's like, that is the energy that the show, or the episode where they're with the social media guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're like, is this going to end in a shooting? Or is Paperboy just going to get out of the car and walk home? And it's like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen next in this show that's about kind of nothing, but also, it's just, I love shows that are about like an idea. It feels like Donald Glover shows up to the episode and says, I want to talk about this idea.
Yeah, he like...
And that's, and then whatever.
Yeah, the characters are reoccurring. It's almost like in...
Like an anthology.
Yeah, it's like an anthology, almost kind of like for... And like it's another time, but Sam and I are going to bring up this show because it's great. Over the Garden Wall.
Oh, yeah.
Where in Over the Garden Wall, you meet the characters where they are. And there is absolutely no connection to the previous episode. They just kind of like appear in these circumstances. And... you know they're in a they're in like a mysterious forest, and that's it. And then like there's in the circumstance, and you have about 15 seconds to catch up,
right?
To be like, okay, like so the characters are reoccurring, but the situations are not. And
so
Atlanta,
they're on
it's
a
very
boat with some frog people. All right, I get it.
It's like, sure, fine. Yeah. And like Atlanta is a very similar thing where like the characters are reoccurring, but yeah, he's just trying, like, I think he's trying to capture the spirit of like Atlanta rather than trying to, you know, bring any like realism to it. And like, yeah, you meet these characters and it's just like, okay, Paperboy is on some sort of like public access show.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Like, okay. And like,
sure.
It's a show that like kind of demands you to like catch up, or like it's not going to hold your hand through what's happening. It's like, this is what's happening. And the instant that you think you have a general idea of what's happening, then that's when an invisible car hits someone,
right,
or someone flips around through a wall. And then like you're then forced to have to catch up again.
Right. Or like, yeah. Or you watch a 7-minute dinner scene in a 22-minute show and you're like, is this the episode? Like, that would be cool, but also I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, is this what we're doing? And then it isn't, but it's like, oh, this is just a Vanessa episode. They've never done this before. This isn't a show where they pick a character and follow them the whole way through. But today, that's what we're doing. And we're going to just watch Vanessa for 20 minutes. And that's it. And it's just her story. And it's such good television, man. It's so good. I know there's 2 seasons, and the second season ended a couple years ago, so I don't know if the show is canceled.
I mean, I think
or just not coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like, that's a Donald Glover sort of thing.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? Like, he'll do it when he does it, or he won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good show.
Well, it's like his music. It's like he's quit rap like 5 times. I mean, he doesn't do rap anymore, but like he's quit music like 5 times, and it's just like, okay, dude, just come back whenever.
Yeah, come back with whatever you're doing, like a fashion line, sure. Like I'm sure you'll do great.
I'm down.
Anyway, that's our show. Thank you all so much for listening to Get Better. You can find us at get_better_podcast. That's Get Better Podcast. You can also reach us at meetthefockers2fockedup@gmail.com. I know that people have continuously tried to reach out to us using our personal emails. You should not know those unless you are, in fact, a sleeper agent or have been MK Ultra'd. But if the case you are, please do not give those out to the community. Instead, reach out to us at meetthefockers2fockedup@gmail.com. And just as a reminder, we do not have a Patreon. Our audience, I'm assuming you guys are more than aware of what's going on in the world right now, whether it is through human rights abuses or through coronavirus related things. And I would all
that cool shit that you take a break from for an hour when you listen to us.
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, and so I would just suggest you guys, instead of looking into a Patreon for us, just find out what organization is most plugged into your community and find ways to donate to them, either through your money or your time. And that is all that we have. So we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
All right.
See you bye forever.
See you bye forever.